Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, it is.
That's a very soft hello.
It was. My voice decided it forgot how to work for a second there.
We talk about DC TV shows on this particular podcast, and it's kind of a weird week because we actually pushed this a day or two later. So that we could include Swamp Thing, because we're going to talk about the Doom Patrol finale, we're going to talk about Swamp Thing premiere, and we also watched an episode of Gotham, and that is what this week's show is going to be. The reason why we waited to include Swamp Thing would normally, typically we get to the podcast, we record it on a Thursday. Usually the DC Universe show is like 6 days old by that point, and by the time the podcast goes up, it's, the new episode's out, but ours is just going up, which is fine, that'll more or less still be the case, but we actually can't do an episode next week. We're taking a week off. So rather than force people to wait 2 weeks for the first Swamp Thing episode, we thought, well, we'll just sneak it in this one
And
slightly
Swamp
late.
Thing would have been the only new thing next week, so it's easy just to do it now.
Yeah. So there will be an episode next week, and then the following week, that's when you'll get Swamp Thing episode 2, and we'll have another Gotham, and we'll have... I think we'll have Krypton that week. I think Krypton's back for that week.
Is that week, or is that the week after?
No, I think that's that week. So
you're right. Yeah. So next episode you'll have Krypton. Yeah.
Yeah, the Swamp Thing 2, and then on top of that, obviously we'll do a Gotham and something else. I think we're going to go back to Smallville, and Batman the Animated Series. So that's what's coming. But this episode, we're going to do Doom Patrol finale, Swamp Thing premiere, and we did squeeze in an episode of Gotham. So here we go. So just once again, I'll remind you at the end of the episode, but just once again, no episode next week, which is why we pushed this one a couple of days to fit in the Swamp Thing premiere, and then we'll be back the following week with business as usual. So, so we don't have any news. I felt like I had more spiel to go into before.
I mean, we can spiel. I mean, you keep saying that we pushed it a couple of days. We pushed it one day, and then you fell asleep twice.
Twice?
And yeah, on the same night.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, okay. Yeah. I just was because you relish in using whenever it's late because of me, it's that's the case. And then you kept going, we pushed it a couple of days, like it was intentional.
99 times out of 100 is your fault.
I will take 97.
Every so often I have to actually account for that one time that it's my fault and let it be my fault. So it was my fault.
Yes, but you didn't want to say it then. You just tried to wrap it up into a planned pushing, and that's not what happened. And I won't stand for it.
You know what? Fine, because it's not going to be long before I get to blame you. It's not
probably not, but you relish it every time. So I'm making the most of my one of my 3 opportunities out of the next 100.
One of your 1 opportunities over the next 100. Thank you very much. So as always, the shows are timestamped, so you can skip ahead to whatever one you want. Spoilers for each show as we talk about them, and
yeah. So if you're here just for Swamp Thing because it's the first episode, I know some people probably are, skip ahead now.
I feel like most people who care about the Swamp Thing show are probably also watching Doom Patrol.
I would hope so, because Doom Patrol's been fantastic.
Just given that it's on the same service that everyone's paid for, so
yeah.
There's a logic to it.
But I mean, maybe it's people though who aren't paying for the service yet and are going, hey, maybe I'll get it and check out Swamp Thing because they're interested in that more.
All 6 of you. Click on the timestamp. All 6
Screw
of you.
you. I'm being considerate.
We're going to start with Doom Patrol. The season finale is episode 15. It's called Ezekiel Patrol. And this is a very different episode, I think, than maybe
what you would have expected.
Yeah, what I was expecting. Yeah. Not that it didn't deliver on some of that classic Doom Patrol weirdness, because we'll get to the weirdness about the last 10 minutes.
Ezekiel himself.
Ezekiel, yes. So we start off, everyone's pissed at the chief for revealing that he was behind all of their misfortune.
Yeah.
And nobody freezes time just before oh god. What's Jane's personality that Hammerhead. That's the one. To be said. Look, she has 60-something characters in it.
She has a lot, but I wasn't sure which one you were reaching for.
I know. Baldy. But anyway, so time freezes, and Mr. Nobody just kind of basks in his revenge because the chief's like, "You've had your revenge. What now?" He's like, "Well, the sky's the limit. I'm going to host The View." Or something to that effect. But then we actually jump ahead 6 months, and we get a series of flashbacks mixed in with kind of catching up with everyone 6 months later, where we see basically scenes of the chief either deciding, or a scene right before when he knows that one of them's about to have their accident or one of them's about to have their incident. We don't actually get one for every single character. I don't think Rita has one, if I recall correctly. But
she is mentioned in Larry's one, I think.
Yeah.
She's mentioned when he's talking to Joshua at the end farm.
Yeah, when Joshua, also immortal apparently, because it's like 1961.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, he's going to be around for all that chocolate fetching.
Joshua, chocolate! Which is fine. I will say that if I have one weird complaint about this show, is that it's made people's ages and what time we're in completely redundant almost. Because all of our main characters just live eternally.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most of the actual Doom Patrol have good reasons.
Sure.
Rita, sure, she probably is aging, but she just shifts herself. She shapes herself to look the way she did then. Right? That's probably not her normal. No,
I mean, I'll accept that because of what happened to her, she's not aging. I'll accept that, obviously Robot Man, obviously Larry's get this negative, because we established that when the negative spirit leaves,
he is dying.
Yeah, that if the spirit's not in his body, he will die. And
Jane's Jane.
And Jane, Jane, I guess, I mean, okay, sure, it's a side effect of just what she has.
If I really wanted to come up with a reason, I would say that each personality has its own timer. It ages while they're out. So every time a different personality is out, Jane, as isn't aging.
Okay. I don't really care that much, but I think because the chief was the weird one, but then it's kind of heavily implied.
Kind of been a sticking point that he's been hunting for this.
It's heavily implied that he's used these individuals to achieve lasting age himself. But Joshua just came out of nowhere, like, "Oh, I guess you're also just not aging because it's 1961 and you look the same." But yeah, so we get these flashbacks, and Silas knows what he's up to, as does Cyborg's mom, and we get all these quick scenes, and then we see that Rita and Larry are living together somewhere else, and she's a high school drama teacher, which leads to a scene where even before the joke happened at the end of it, I'm like, she's giving this guy a boner. Like this kid is enjoying this. Well, maybe enjoy is not the right word. He's probably in shock / turned on.
Yeah.
Because Rita's like, "I'll do the scene with you to show what passion looks like." I'm like, Rita.
She proper goes for it.
And all she does is put her hand on the side of his cheek and says something affectionate. It's just not like anything.
Yes, but he's a horny teenage boy.
Yes, he is. Yes. And I'm like, man, if Rita was my teacher, I'd certainly be enjoying this right now. But the teachers give her a lot of shit and basically call her a nobody, no pun intended, because she's doing high school drama.
The students give her shit.
What did I say?
The teachers.
The teachers, sorry. The students.
Yeah, it's not her colleagues.
The students, yes. A particularly shitty 14-year-old gives her what for. And we see she's living with Larry, and Larry's they've promised each other to try and be out in the world and not be hidden away. Jane goes to Joshua and demands for help, and he kind of lets loose that there's a serum that him and Niles have got that dampen meta powers. But he's like, "Oh, we have to have a regiment so that you take X amount X days, so you slowly do it." And she just grabs it all, teleports, and then doses it all up in one fell swoop.
Yeah, never saw that coming.
And we get this kind of sad scene of her in the network at the river or the lake or whatever it is, and she's lying back in the glimmer of grass, and all of her personalities are coming in and lying down next to her, including the nun with the chainsaw. We have not had enough of that nun with the chainsaw. I want more of her in season 2.
I bet you do.
I want that to be
more
known.
Importantly, I want a season 2.
Yes, more importantly, I want season 2. So that's great. And we see Cliff is just kind of bringing her food. She doesn't even know he's there. He's just kind of keeping an eye on her and bringing her food. It was kind of sweet. So you get all this. And then they all start hearing a little bit of Chawamba. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get knocked down, I get up again, I ain't never going to let you down. Oh, Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy.
We don't need a rendition.
I know, but that part's important because Danny the Street is involved in what's happening here. Because they all sort of accept. I actually laughed. There's a random joke about this old man outside of Rita and Larry's house, who like, well, we'll see if old man, whatever his name is, can hear it, and she just looks out the window, and is like, hear what? as if he actually has like super hearing.
Yeah,
but he can't hear it. But it leads them all to the chief's mansion, and they go in, and he's like, they're outside the painting. Danny the Street and my daughter, and I'm like, daughter?
Yeah, I'm like, where's this going? And okay, we're finally doing the stuff inside the painting.
Yeah. As for who the daughter is, I wonder if that's a reveal that happens later in the comic that we didn't get to yet.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either, or is it because the show has taken some liberties and changed some things?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I can see it being something for the show, but also it could just be from comics. Either way, it was nice for us to have it this way around because we didn't get that.
Yeah, no, it was a nice little reveal. We're talking about Dorothy, of course. We never get to see her face at the end, but I mean, I know from the comics what she looks like.
Yeah.
When I realized who it was though before he said the name, because like I just the hair and the dress,
you see the outfit, yeah. It's the blue and white checkered dress. It's Dorothy from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. And she's actually kind of key to the plot in this one because it's actually there's one like throwaway line from Mr. Nobody. It says that your daughter's the one who made the rat and the cockroach this way.
Yeah.
So we'll dive into her powers in season 2, but I mean that was a nice little touch just from knowing what she does in the comics.
And we'll get into the rat and the cockroach even more soon.
Well, yeah. So they come to visit Mr. Nobody. They kind of inspire the plan to do this.
Form a new brotherhood.
Yeah, it's a new brotherhood.
What was it? Brotherhood of something. I can't
remember what it was. It wasn't Baba because I was expecting him to say that, and it wasn't that. Which I still think we'll probably get at some point. Like maybe he'll form that in season 2.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Mainly just because I want the other characters who are in it because they're kind of fun. But yeah, so Admiral Whiskers shows up after Ezekiel the cockroach demands, and I've not actually. Let me check. I don't know the guy's name, so I may have to click on him to get a photo. But I'm pretty sure the voice of the cockroach is. I know who that actor is. Like I know that voice.
I vaguely recognized it, but I don't know if I could tell you who it was.
I'm just clicking on the full cast list here to get to it. Where's
Ezekiel the cockroach?
Oh, here we go. It's Curtis Armstrong, the face I'm thinking of. Let me just. Load. It is, it's him. I knew it was him. He's got a really distinct voice. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I could even tell you what I've seen him in.
There you go, the Brotherhood of Dangerous Animals.
Yeah. And this is not the first time I've seen Ezekiel this season, but it really stuck out to me in this one.
But we're formed up and doing some stuff this time, aren't they, as a group?
He was in a bunch of New Girl. He was in some Supernatural.
I recognise this fella.
Yeah, you've seen him and stuff. He's one of those guys that just pops up all over the place.
He's been in everything, hasn't he?
He's in a Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, I recognise his voice a lot from American Dad.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Apparently he was in Supernatural quite a bit. So, yeah, people will recognise him.
Yeah. So Mr. Nobody's like, yeah, let's do something. Because Mr. Nobody's kind of all sad. He's had his revenge. He doesn't know what to do himself. Like, it's just kind of... He's reading the review, actually, of the show on the toilet.
Because of course he is.
And he's whinging because they're like, oh, he's got stereotypical revenge in the villain. I'm like, they're right. So the team just need to think about being in the paint. They make the choice to go in to help save his daughter. Not for the chief, because they'll hate the chief still, but for Danny and for the daughter
and Danny.
Yeah. And they go in and they see the cockroach first that's kaiju sized, and then afterwards they see Admiral Whiskers. But this is a moment I loved, because Cliff's like, it's the cockroach, isn't it? And then he turns around and it's Admiral Whiskers, and he's just like, F my life.
Yeah, because Ezekiel does a bit of a 180, because he's very religious. Ezekiel is, and he gets convinced into, well, hang on, maybe you're God, and he goes off on one, and likes to be a bit of a vengeful God. It seems Ezekiel does.
Mm.
Goes to his head a bit.
Yeah. They find Mr. Nobody just drinking in the bar, to the point where eventually Rita convinces him to help a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you might have gone too far on this one. He's like, yeah, I suppose I did.
Yeah, she gets him to narrate again to help, and because Cliff gets eaten by Whiskers, and then the plan for the rest of them is to get eaten by the cockroach, because cockroaches, as you know, can survive nuclear blasts. So the radiation from Larry's body that he's going to use to use a portal and blow up the place, they'll be shielded from that.
This is so Doom Patrol.
It is so Doom Patrol. The most Doom Patrol bit, of course, is when shit, what about Cliff? And Mr. Nobody has to narrate how Cliff will get from the inside the rat to the inside of the cockroach. So he starts talking about Ezekiel and Whiskers getting attracted to each other, and we get this sloppy French kiss between the two of these kaiju size
a mouse and a cockroach.
And Cliff literally crawls out the mouth, runs across the tongue as it wagging about, and dives into the other mouth. It is the most ridiculous thing in this show has done, and that is saying something.
Yeah, that is saying something.
It really is. And then they get back, and I thought, is Danny dead? But then there's one brick. They've got one brick that comes out with them.
Yeah, that's enough.
And it's okay, so that's probably Danny will regrow from the brick. And although worth mentioning, other than Larry, they're all small. They're all tiny, because when they came out, they're much, because they're inside the cockroach.
Yeah.
So they'll have to deal with that. Does the chief have a Honey, I Blew Up the Kid machine somewhere?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
It seems like something he might have. Call up the Atom. He'll I could see them putting a joke in though. I could say, we called the Atom. He came around.
Yeah,
he wasn't very happy about it.
I would suspect the first episode back will be right. Let's get big again.
It may be, yeah. They'll skip some time and they'll just be big again, or they'll actually make a plot out of it and do the episode on it. I mean, it's funny because it wasn't what I was expecting, but it still had the moment where they all decided to go and be heroes. Rita flat out says, "No, the only time I don't feel like an asshole is when I'm actually helping with this shit."
Yeah, it was weird having the 6 month jump, but it threw me at first, but it kind of worked.
Yeah.
That's something usually you wouldn't do until after the plot's been wrapped up. You do the 6 month jump, right? Doing it here before the actual final confrontation was unusual.
I wonder if there's a reason for this, that they've got some flashbacks planned for in that 6 month jump to explain something next year.
I could do, yeah, because remember I mentioned Larry was testing himself, letting the spirit out for longer and longer, see how long they could get away with it.
Yeah,
and Larry actually still be okay rather than just unconscious immediately.
He's up to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. It's exciting. It's full of that wonky stuff. And although I did question at one point how the chief got down all those stairs, because Jane goes into this the weird dark room, all the stairs going down, and to try and talk Dorothy out of the room. And at one point, the chief just rolls up in his chair behind her. I'm like, "Excuse me."
He has a stair lift, and then just another wheelchair at the bottom.
I didn't see no stair lift.
It's an invisible one because he's the chief.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not going with this. How dare you? How dare you?
Maybe it turns into a ramp, and then like cartoon style, they all form up, and it just becomes a slope, and then back to stairs.
Yeah. So they do see, even though they still kind of hate the chief, there does seem to, because him and Jane have a weird bonding moment here when she's singing the song to try and get Dorothy out, and it does it. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised that Doom Patrol did it in a way I wasn't expecting, but it kind of gets them to this place where they're kind of a team again. Despite the fact that it wasn't anything like I would have imagined it was going to
be. Props for being unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
Because we did not call it going like this. We went, there'll be a team at the end, and they'll all come together and save the day. And Yeah, that is technically in there.
I think it's interesting to me that they make the choice to save the day despite the fact that it's for the chief, who
has been their motivation all season,
who they rightfully hate.
Yes.
Right now, so it makes it more selfless, I guess, is what I'm saying.
It does,
yeah.
Oh, this was a great season of TV.
Yeah, no, Doom Patrol was fantastic. I really want season 2.
So if anyone is here for Swamp Thing and for some reason sat through the ending of Doom Patrol's review, go check out Doom Patrol.
Okay, we'll move on then to Swamp Thing. So yeah, season 1, episode 1, Swamp Thing. It's just called the pilot, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm glad I get that up because that was a difficult one.
To be fair, I think all of them have been called pilot, although Doom Patrol's was, I think, Pilot Patrol. But
yes, exactly. There may have been a twist on it. There may have been a quirk to it.
There could have been, yeah.
So yeah, Swamp Thing. So this is interesting. Joe, it's really bizarre having this service because it's like we always have like a dedicated DC show, and right now because they're all season 1s, we have a new show every 10 to 15 weeks. So I really like Swamp Thing as a character from the comics, specifically Alan Moore's run. I really enjoy. I like the more horror focused Swamp Thing, and sure enough, this is very much a horror focused Swamp Thing. Like this thing plays it like a body horror movie in a lot of ways. It's definitely right from the opening shot. You can going through the swamp at night. It's creepy. Mm-hmm. They're going for this tone, and we were wondering how it was going to work out because there's been some troubles with it. They cut down the episode order a little bit and changed the ending so they could get down to 10 episodes after having already made 9 of them.
Yeah.
So a lot of concerning on that front, and it was like, well, is it just bad from the start, and they're just cutting their losses? Is this just a money thing? Is it something else? What's going on? But so I'm curious. Did you like episode 1?
Yeah, I like certain elements a lot,
and
then there are other things that I really didn't like very much at all.
It's not as good as the first Doom Patrol episode. That is
nowhere near.
That is definitely true. I think it's better than the first Titans episode.
That's probably true. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like that first Titans episode at all. So yeah,
I think I'd say I liked it overall. There's definitely some nitpicks throughout, but I think it because right at the start, we got Abby Arcane, who's probably more the main character than Alec Holland is.
Absolutely.
Which probably makes sense given that we're probably going to be focusing on her more.
At least so far, I can see it shifting. A few episodes in, the more we see Swamp Thing, the more we kind of go to that point of view, so to speak.
But early on, her and Alec when they first meet, and for a little while, I was a little worried that they felt a little bit forced in terms of chemistry early on.
I still felt that by the end.
I felt a little bit better by the end, and I think it was not so much that the romance was working any better. I think it was just because some of the acting got a bit better as it went on. Not that it was bad when they first showed up, but it was just there was some moments later on where they shared a couple of beats where I'm like, oh, that was actually a really well done little moment.
Okay, see, I think I disagree on this point. I found the acting a little on the rough side, especially from him more than her, admittedly.
Oh, that's fair. It was because I wasn't super feeling the dramatic backstory when Mrs. Sunderland comes to talk to her. I was like, oh, this feels like just a TV show thing. We need to have this dramatic backstory. This is why she's not been back to her hometown in 15 years or whatever.
Do you know what was really weird to me, just on that specific note of her not being back? There's a bit where someone goes to, you still remember exactly where to go, right? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't she? I've not been to my hometown in 5-6 years now, and I could still walk around the entire thing quite comfortably. You don't, I mean, if you live there for presumably at least 16, 17, 18 years of your life, you probably don't forget it that easily.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. I guess what you're
But
saying there is that it's a forced bit of dialogue to show that she's not been here in a long time.
yeah, and it just felt clunky to me, and I don't know. But
That's fair.
yeah, I agree with the backs, especially even later on when she's telling her side of things to Alec.
Yeah.
This felt super exposition-y. Just we've got to get this out in the first episode.
Oh yeah, no, I can get on board with that. I think what worked a little bit for me was the like at the end of that scene where I can't remember what she says actually. She says something, but basically he cracks a joke where he says, "Sorry, there's no results. Your search is void of results."
Yeah.
And I thought that little callback to the earlier line was okay. That was actually a neat little like sweet thing to say. Not necessarily romantic way.
It was the closest thing they had to chemistry.
Sure.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
This is the thing, though. He's only Alec Holland for one episode. After this, we just
yeah. My concern is that we're going to play with the Alec within and kind of play up that angle still, and maybe see some of him still. I don't know how they're going to play it.
How do we see some of him still? When he's Swamp Thing at the end of the episode.
I know, but I just in my head. I feel like
let me paraphrase that. He may be Swamp Thing at the end of the episode, and I'm saying it that way because there's different versions of how Swamp Thing works, and I am definitely, it's on my mind as to which version they're going to go with.
Yes, and if it is the version where he is Swamp Thing, which is what I'm not sure they're going to do, but I mean, let's just take that as the assumption for now. I feel like they'll somehow play up, and we'll see kind of almost visions of him talking at some point. To get like inside his head a bit. Hear his thoughts, maybe something like that. Maybe they won't do that at all. I kind of hope they don't, but it crossed my mind as a possibility.
Yeah. I guess I think most of the horror stuff, most of the vines and the stuff in the water,
that stuff works.
Or even just how absurdly grotesque the corpse in the morgue that died from this disease.
And where it sits up and
it's full on the Thing. Like the way this thing like spirals out and there's all these.
It is, yeah. Do you know what I really liked about that body? I like the way it moved. Because when it sits up, it's like really rigid and it snaps.
Yeah. No,
and it's not like like most times when you see like a zombie thing waking up, it's kind of sluggish. It's moving around still, but this is completely different.
I feel very optimistic because I feel like most of the problems I had were typical pilot TV problems, but the core things that work, that kind of just need to work throughout the whole thing, seem to be there. Swamp Thing looked good. The various horror things look good.
Yes.
I really like the scene in the hospital where they're having to like dance around and try and get past this thing. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed some of the sciencey stuff where he's got this little test chamber and he puts in this is what's happening, and he like dabs the liquid on it and it starts growing. And he's like, "Hey Alec, do you want to do something? It's about to break the glass." And he has to like it's just a simple little scene.
Yeah. That's the thing. I like all of those horror and actiony kind of beats to it. Most of the stuff where it's the characters talking and the drama of it, I wasn't feeling so much, which is why I'm kind of mixed. And
but that's why I say pilot TV problem, because I feel like in pilots that's typically the stuff that is the weakest.
It often is, yeah.
So there's a reasonable chance that stuff will iron out a little bit as we go through.
It's his hoping, yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be amazing by the end of the season, but it just means that the kinks that are a bit more rough will iron out.
Yeah, I know, I'm with you. It is very possible that'll be the case. I hope it is. I'm just concerned.
If it doesn't, because here's the thing: if the stuff with Swamp Thing himself, because we don't get a lot of Swamp Thing in this episode, because it ends kind of with his
like the final shot.
Yeah, the final shot is him coming out of the water and just kind of like, he doesn't even stand up properly, really. He kind of just like stumbles and falls over as soon as he gets out of the water, and he ends with him lying. It's very much that first teaser for Uncharted 4, if anyone remembers that from the Uncharted 4 reveal. But he, so I feel like if the stuff that focuses on him works, and because he's a monster and the monstery stuff works so far, I think the show will do quite well, and I will be able to forgive some of the other human characters being a bit meh.
Yeah, it really all depends on how much we split the focus onto which stuff. Like if we're focusing on the horror elements more and the drama's just kind of there at the side, I'll be okay with it.
Because
If it ends up, taking a backseat to the drama, I'll be a bit more disappointed.
Because the plot in this episode definitely focuses on her and Alec, like Abby and Alec. Like it completely focuses on them. And don't get me wrong, once Swamp Thing's a thing, like she's going to not want to go back there immediately. Probably we're going to follow her. But honestly, her hunting down the clues and like trying to figure out the case is actually fine. The actual plot stuff is fine in that sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's relatively entertaining, and finding the body in the house was good.
I like when it was still just kind of stood up.
Yeah, it's like that stuff had just grown out of him. It's like he was trying to get some like pills out of the cabinet.
Yeah, he was in the bathroom or something, and he stood there, and he's kind of frozen. There's all these vines and stuff sticking out of him.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm fairly happy with it. Like I think, like I say, some kinks to iron out, and if it doesn't, like if the ratio of the fun horror and action stuff kind of sticks throughout the show, then I'll probably still have a relatively good time. If it nails what it feels like, the Swamp Thing specifically, and like his relationship with Abby, and kind of the beauty and the monster kind of thing, if it nails that, then that'll elevate it considerably.
It would, yes. Obviously, we've got absolutely no idea how it's going to handle that yet.
Yeah. So far, I like how it looks for the most part, though.
Yeah.
I will say, in terms of the designs, anyway, the direction's like hit or miss. But Len Wiseman directed it, but like so, I would expect some.
I mean, I wouldn't. It could have been a lot worse from him.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Because I was worried that it would go full on blue tint. It didn't do that. It definitely was a little bit desaturated, but I think it's going for just the tone of the area.
Swampy, yeah.
But for green, you have to have a little bit of color, so they stopped.
You do, which helps, doesn't it?
Yes, they stopped them from going full Len Wiseman, which was nice. So yeah, the backstory is that she like got her best friend killed. End of high school.
Yeah.
She works at the CDC.
Anyone's into college?
No, it was before she left for college.
Oh, was it before she left? I thought it was before they came back. Okay.
Yeah, because the mum was saying, "Oh, I imagined in your freshman year at college, what
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it was end of high school. I think it was like 2 days before prom or something with that. It was like something.
It's 2 days before graduation.
Graduation. There you go.
Yeah.
So the backstory is whatever. Like it's because she comes in, they have this emotional scene, and it's just hard to get invested in it at this point. It's the sort of thing where if they'd like had this tension between them for several episodes, and
then this came bubbling out.
Yeah, that would probably like work better, because it'd be like, oh man, like she did this. But getting it in episode 1 again, it's kind of the pilot exposition problem.
Yeah, I think addressing it twice really hurt as well.
Yeah.
Because you have the scene with the mother, and then you have the scene where she tells Alec at the end. And
yeah, you could have just had the tension, then have Alec ask her, and then just have that one scene of her telling him.
That would have been better.
Which would have been one of the two. I'd picked that one because he also shares a bad thing, like about himself. In that scene.
Yeah. So there's at least something in this. I still I didn't like even that moment overall. Her telling the story there, because it did still feel really exposition-y, just like, oh, we want you to know this already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a byproduct of, hang on, we know we need him to be Swamp Thing in this episode, but he needs to know this pre-Swamp Thing, so quick, tell him.
Because it'll probably be how he proves who he is,
Yeah.
If not that, then something else that she said to him.
I will say, we're saying, we're under the assumption earlier on of, well, we travelled with the assumption that it was that version of Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to pull a swerve and do the other one.
I do too. Because it feels more to me like Swamp Thing was already like forming in some capacity in the swamp.
Yeah, I don't want to go all the way into it for spoilers for anyone who doesn't read the comics and doesn't want to know and gets that as a swerve later. But I suspect that will be the origin we go with.
Yeah, if you've read the Alan Moore Swamp Thing run, you'll know which version we're talking about. And I don't want you to spoil it, but I like that version though, so I'm pleased with that, and it opens up some interesting drama with the character of Swamp Thing himself.
It does, yeah.
I can
you can already see the season 2 arc for his character.
Yeah, I can see it in the season 1 like revelation at the end. Like I can see it in the finale.
Yeah. That's why I think that's the moment you get at the end of the season, and then season 2 is Swamp Thing dealing with that. That's his arc for the second season. It's a nice, easy way of structuring a TV season, right?
Yeah, you've set up Sunderland in this episode. Obviously, we talked about Mrs. Sunderland, but Avery Sunderland, played by Will Patton, who's another big character in the comics. It doesn't seem as evil here yet, but I feel like he's just hiding things.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, we'll get more into his devious deeds, I'm sure, as the show goes on.
Matthew in there. He's a cop.
Yes, yeah, we got Matthew. Liz Tremaine is that's who she meets at the bar, presumably.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, and there's also a Madame Xanadu, which I mean,
there is.
She's just mentioned briefly because she's at like up on top of the bar, and she's like,
yeah. I feel like this would be a very different version of Madame Xanadu because often Madame Xanadu is kind of like Eastern European Romani sort of angle. Obviously here we're in the swamp. We will probably play more up some sort of that angle.
Yeah, we're in Louisiana,
like voodoo sort of route. Yeah.
So just funny actually. Like this is maybe one of the first shows I've ever seen where the entire thing's set in a town that's like the swamp's the main part of the town, and that's kind of what they all like all the people who work in the town make their money from the swamp and fishing and things like that. It was just like because at one point at this opening scene, which by the way, R.J. Seiler has like a one scene role, and it's so weird. Yeah, he's wasted. I like him a lot. I don't know why he's in just one scene. But at one point he says something like, "Oh, that was just a gator, right?" I'm like, "Just a gator? Just?"
I know. Oh, it seems like a terrible place to live.
Yeah, I want no part of this.
Because you imagine it's warm, it's humid, and then you've got alligators.
Yeah, I don't want no part of the gators and the heat. No. I'm good.
Keep that shit away from me.
Yeah. I mean, Florida's got a lot of reasons not to visit, but the alligators...
Those are 3 pretty good reasons right there.
I don't want Florida man run into me.
No, thank you.
So we have the whole thing with the little girl who gets sick, and she's kind of the first case, and that's what kind of brings the CDC in, and basically Mrs. Sunderland's like, yeah, hey, as soon as like she's like healthy, you're leaving. Like, I'm not letting you be in my town, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's up to her.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. And it's worth noting that Alec does get actively taken out. But that's what leads to his.
Oh yeah, he's shot a couple of times. Yeah, there's like a mysterious gunman in a boat. Because they find, and this is presumably what leads back to Sunderland and why it's probably his fault overall, is they find these boxes that have got
the serum in it that's accelerating things. It's what it was what the opening scene was. They were going around dropping these boxes into the water, and starting it off. And obviously he was onto it, which is probably why he was killed.
Yeah, and that seems to be whatever's affecting everything and causing the disease. Is that also what's causing Swamp Thing's creation? Is another question that we'll get to. Or is Swamp Thing's... I mean, when I say causing... What I'm about to say is also technically causing Swamp Thing's creation, but is it just that the chemical is causing the creation of Swamp Thing, or is it that the green creates Swamp Thing to fight back?
Yes. It could go down either route or both, weirdly.
Yes. And because I do wonder, like, do we get into the green at some point in the show? Is that kind of idea ever?
That's a season 3 idea.
That's a season 3 idea. The green.
Like season 1 is just Swamp Thing. Season 2 we've already established what that is. I think season 3 is when you start delving into the green. And then maybe okay, he's got some larger responsibilities. Maybe we see the Parliament.
All right. But yeah, so that was basically episode 1. I thought the pacing was reasonable enough. Like, it was a full hour. I didn't feel like it was dragging at any point.
No, I never felt like it was too long.
Yeah, so that's a good sign as well, because sometimes these hour-long shows can feel a bit padded and.
They can. Sometimes they feel like, well, we're on a streaming service. We've got no actual restriction. So they don't edit it as stringently as they should. It's not been as bad these days, though.
Do you know, I actually have to give this service credit because I think Doom Patrol had excellent pacing, and for any faults you can levy at it, I don't think Titans had the problem where each episode felt like it had pacing issues. Titans still felt like they had fairly tight episodes in terms of the pace.
No, I did. I'll give them that. I mean, I hated most of the content in that, but I can't fault the pace.
Yes. So,
Yeah, because it is a common thing we come across where just because they don't have to be 42 minutes, they'll go, let's just be a full hour or an hour 10. They just don't edit down what really should have been edited down. They're not forced to make any difficult choices. So they just leave it all in, and it can become a bit of a drawn out mess.
Yeah. Marais is the name of the town. You know, every time they said it, I was because every time I read it, like when it came up on the screen, I was like, "How the hell do you say that?" And then they said, it, "I'm like, oh, Marais, okay."
Yeah.
I'll
keep
that in mind. Marais.
Yeah, it's kind of French.
It's kind of French, isn't it? But
yeah.
Hey, but that's a Swamp Thing premiere. I'm feeling fairly optimistic. I enjoyed it well enough.
I'm cautiously optimistic, depending on the balance.
Not so much for the characters, admittedly, but like everything else has been pretty good so far.
The complete opposite, because we came out of Doom Patrol episode 1 being like, "Yep, okay, these characters are great."
Oh yeah, sure. But I think characters can improve. Characters can get better.
They can. Yeah, they can grow on you, and they can arc and grow.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to see how they develop over the next several episodes. But that is that. So to round off the show then this week, we are going to talk about an episode of Gotham. We're on season 1, episode 7. It's called Penguin's Umbrella. And this... I might love this show for all the wrong reasons. I really might. So everyone knows Penguin's alive. People want to bring in Jim Gordon. I think it's...
this is how we ended last episode. Yeah. Penguin walking into the police station.
Yeah, and it doesn't pick up quite there, but it's like everyone
knows. It's a little bit later, but yeah.
But Falcone or whoever wants Jim Gordon in, and like it's like, hey, well, the guy's like, no, I'll send in Victor, and it's like, oh, it's Victor Zsasz, all right, okay. So we get this scene where Victor Zsasz comes into the police station, and he stands up on a table. And he's like, Jim Gordon, and like all the cops just stop moving, and like Gordon's like up in the little like walkway next to the captain's office. There's this big standoff kind of moment. And Gordon's like, you gotta try something in here. There's 50 cops in here. Like, what are you gonna do?
And Zsasz just goes, all right, Olia, out.
Yeah, everyone leave. But this scene stuck out to me. There's a couple of times Zsasz just gets really angry and screams something, and every single time it made me laugh. Because one of them was like, everyone leave, and then no one moves. Everyone's just kind of like standing like, should we move? And he just goes,
like, please.
He's like, no, that's underselling. I was like, please. Like, he really goes for it. And at least
I didn't feel like shouting.
And it leads to this chase with him and Gordon, and there's gunshots being exchanged, and eventually Montoya and Crispus Allen show up to save his ass. He's like, oh yeah, sorry, we thought you killed Penguin. Clearly that didn't happen. We're on your side now. And he goes to a med student to get patched up.
Yeah, pretty roughly.
Yeah. So, and he sends out Barbara out the city so that he can do what he needs to do. And Bullock, at first is really mad at him, but then he shows up at his house drunk with a prostitute.
I forgot all about this scene.
Yeah, what was she? She was the Duchess of like. Not really, obviously not really, but like he was calling her the Duchess of. I don't know. It was one of the shires. I don't know what shire it was, but
yeah, it was probably a made-up shire.
Probably, but it was just really funny. And he's like, "I'll be in the room, Jimbo," and Jim's just like, he's questioning, should I stop him from having sex with this woman in my bed? You know what? I'm not going to have that fight. I'm not going to do it.
It's not worth it. I just change the sheets.
Oh dear. So yeah, they go in this thing. He wants to arrest Falcone. That's his whole thing. And Falcone has Barbara because Barbara came to him to try and plead for Gordon's life.
She's a bloody idiot.
And clearly this all goes wrong. And ultimately, like, so eventually, Falcone lets them go, and he's like, I was going to kill you, but I still think there's hope for you yet, Jimbo, because you didn't question me. You believed that I had her, because he's not willing to prove that he has her. He sort of says it, and Jim has to accept the possibility. In fact, my favorite moment here was when she shows up after, like, when they finally reveal her after he's already like given up his gun and all that. Because Bullock's been sitting going, "Nah, it's a bluff, man. It's a bluff, man." And she walks out, and he's like, "Huh, fair enough."
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, good job, you listened to him."
So that amused me. But here's the thing. So there's several moments in the episode with Penguin and Maroni and Falcone try and patch things up after Penguin actually takes some of Maroni's men into one of the drug operations that Falcone has.
And just takes them all out.
And the head guy that Maroni has, wants to try and kill Penguin and be like, I'll just say one of their bullets got you. But Penguin's already offered money to the other henchmen, so they grab this guy and they kill him.
Yeah. So there's a lot of double crossing in this, isn't there?
A lot of double crossing. But the big thing is that towards the end of the episode, Penguin shows up at Falcone's house. Falcone turns around and you think it's going to be a tense moment. And it's like, wait a minute. This is expected. They're working together.
Yeah, this was the plan all along.
Yeah, we get a flashback back to episode 1 where he talked to Penguin after they had Gordon that tied up.
And Penguin was like, just let Gordon be the one that kills me, because he won't, and then you can use me.
Yeah, Penguin really predicts a lot of things here, so that everything falls into place, and he can do what he does for the rest of the next 6-7 episodes, which is whatever. I think what really stuck out to us though when we were watching this is that it felt like at least a mid-season finale, if not a season finale. So it's like, I'll give them this: they're burning through plot. They're going for it.
They are, yeah.
They're not spinning their wheels, which I guess I can appreciate that for what it is.
Who was it that Gordon took to see Bruce? Was it Montoya?
Yes. It was like, these detectives
just randomly. It's like, hey, these'll solve your crime for you. I was a bit shit.
Don't you recall that Alfred had Crispus Allen at knife point? He's like, who the bloody hell are you?
He did, didn't he? Yeah. I mean, look, I was rather drunk. Let me be.
Yeah. They go in and it's like, because Gordon's basically thinking he's going on a suicide mission. He's like, nah, these cops will take care of you and they'll find whoever killed your parents. But obviously Gordon's still around at the end of the episode.
Yes, so he can carry on investigating on his jolly own.
Yeah. But yeah, so Penguin's been working for Falcone all along as a double agent, but he's also revealed to Falcone that Fish Mooney's working up the ranks to take him out, and that she was sleeping with a Russian who dies in this episode. He's one of the guys that dies.
Yeah. And then you got a couple of scenes with the girl that Fish sent in, just cooking and cleaning and.
Yeah, because Fish is confused why he's not sexually active with her, but he seems to know. He seems to have a good idea what's going on. So
yeah, he's just going, well, I got someone to cook all my meals and clean for me for free. I'm going to make the most of this.
Yeah, she does this. She does this weird thing where she doesn't seem to really acknowledge all the things that are happening around her. She just keeps making muffins as if nothing's going on.
It's like, no muffins for you.
To the point where she feels brainwashed. Like she feels like she's a robot almost, just sort of being happy and cheery and making muffins.
Do you know who she reminds me of? Mom from Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like it didn't occur to you said robotic and brainwashed there, and I'm like, that's what it was. It kind of felt really similar.
Yeah. Actually, the first time one of the henchmen goes to see Barbara, the chubby dude from Fish, he gets really sleazy and starts like, "Oh, you're being with a criminal," and he gets all close to her, and it's getting kind of uncomfortable until Gordon shows up and chases them off with a gun.
Yeah.
But no,
it was just uncomfortable. And just that, I felt it was there just for the sake of it. We already know they're sleazy criminals.
Yeah.
This isn't really proving much of a point of anything.
It just felt tacked on. But yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was laughing a lot during this episode.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
I was laughing a lot. I think I'm starting to like it for all the wrong reasons. I think I'm starting to like it as just a batshit insane show that's just... It's not good. It's terrible. It's a terrible show. Why this episode has a 9.1 IMDb, I can't fathom.
It does not.
It does. It's an 8.1.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. No, come on.
9.1 average rating.
No, it doesn't. No way. This is a 9 point. Why is IMDb loading so slowly?
It did for me as well a minute ago, actually, because when I clicked on the actor from
IMDb
before.
is having some problems.
Hmm.
Oh, hang on. I'm on the show now. Episodes. What episode was this? 9.1. Piss off.
What a shock.
This is allegedly the best one so far.
What a shock. The thing that I told you exactly 5 times turned out to be what you found when you went and checked.
Do you know what's mildly concerning?
Uh-huh.
This is apparently the highest episode of the season.
People like this episode.
People have terrible taste.
If we're classifying this as a comedy, then this was a fantastic episode of TV.
It is. I'm really worried. In 2 episodes' time, we have Harvey Dent.
Oh, I almost have this excitement to see how badly they screw up every character who pops up.
So sorry. Okay, episode 9 is Harvey Dent, and episode 11 is Rogues Gallery.
Okay, well, we have enough rogues yet for that, but sure, we'll see what they do.
Oh my god, what are they doing in the first season? We've got 2 episodes dedicated to Crane. We have an episode for Red Hood.
All right, come on, stop peeking ahead. Let's take these as they
I'll
come.
have forgotten all of this by next week.
As you mentioned, Zaz does have a few tally marks on him because Connor complained when we first popped up, but he's got no scars on him. I'm like, well, he's just started. He doesn't have a lot yet. And sure enough, he picks up his sleeve at one point, and he's got a few.
It's at the end, the last time we see him, and he's 27, I think it was.
Yeah, he's only in 20, so he's only got some in his arm. He's not covered his whole body yet.
I think I remember it being 27 because Detective 27.
He's got 10 years though, because we have 4 more seasons, then a 5-year time jump before Batman's around. So he's got time.
Yeah, he's got. Because at first I was like, well, where's all the scars? And sure, they're under a sleeve. Fine, I'll let that go for now.
Yeah. Also, Zaz is working for a mob boss. I always thought of Zaz as being more of a chaotic, individual.
Yeah, he just does whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, just a bit psychotic. But no, he's working for Falcone. I guess those mob benefits, help out with the with the law enforcement. And they also kind of solidified, the captain's stance and all this, that she doesn't actually like the corruption. She doesn't like any of that.
But she will let it slide.
Slide's maybe a poor word, because that makes it sound like she's okay with letting it slide. Because she's not okay with it. She's scared. She's terrified of what will happen to her if she doesn't.
But she's not willing to stop it.
Yeah, she's not brave enough to stand up against it. But I think it's correct. It's important to get the wording right there, because it's not like she's just like, whatever. That's not the attitude.
She's not facilitating it. She's not encouraging it. She is implicit in inaction, though.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as inaction goes, doing it because she's scared that they're going to kill her family is, is understandable a reason as any.
I'm not saying it's not a reasonable motivation.
Yeah, well, just let it slide sounds a bit more flippant. Sounds a bit more like, she doesn't care. Let it slide, whatever.
It's fine. People got the point.
Yeah, because I explained it clearly afterwards, yes. Yeah, but that was pretty much Gotham. It was a wacky episode, full of ridiculous overacting from villains. Just lots of plot. It felt like a finale. It really did. So yeah, we'll see what episode 8 brings next time.
Yeah, I was just checking when the mid-season actually was, because we said this felt like a mid-season. I think 10 was the mid-season.
Yeah, it's usually about 9 or 10.
Yeah. So I was just checking which one, but I mean, so we still got a couple more.
Yeah. So there you go. That has got them. Which does bring an end to the show. We normally pick our favorite of the week. So it's really just between Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing, because those were the 2 new shows, and
it's Doom Patrol.
And Doom Patrol, yeah, and was fantastic. And Swamp Thing, I think, was a solid debut and has promise, but definitely was not this perfect.
It wasn't Doom Patrol.
So yeah. But yeah, so just keep in mind, we will not have an episode next week. We'll be back the week after with episode 2 of Swamp Thing, and the first episode of Krypton season 2, and we'll have a Gotham, a Smallville, and probably a Batman animated series. So we'll have more of a packed show.
Is it weird? I'm actually looking forward to Krypton.
No, because we like season 1 of Krypton.
I know, but it feels weird to be anticipating it when before the first season we were utterly dreading it.
Again, we like season 1, so it's not that weird.
We did. It just feels weird going into a season anticipating it.
Anyway, that's been TV for the Multiverse. Do let us know what you thought of the week's shows in the comments and all that jazz. If you want to support us, you can of course do that on your audio podcast app, especially iTunes, by giving us a 5-star rating, giving us a nice little positive review. It spreads the show out for other people. You can of course also support us financially over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month and keep all the content coming. Otherwise though, that is us. So thank you once again. Get us at mailed_fuzz on Twitter for channel updates and various other things. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching superhero TV shows, guys. But remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.